What's up, guys? Welcome to another video where we are going to be hacking a box in Hack the Box. Before we begin, I just want to say to all of you guys who watched, subscribed to my previous video, I really appreciate you guys. I didn't think that video was going to get a lot of views, to be honest, but it's currently I have 513 views in just 1 week. That is like the record views, I guess, for my videos, and that's pretty cool. I also got a lot more comments from you guys, which is awesome. And I received one negative comment, or not negative comment, but one thumbs down, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. I never really had one, I guess, before. Maybe I have, I don't know. But yeah, if you didn't like my previous video, let me know why, so I can maybe work on whatever I need to work on to make better content for you guys. I know it had a lot of unnecessary stuff, probably, the previous video. There's probably a lot of fluff, but I just wanted to let you guys know what I am using to get better at this. Anyway, with that said, let's get hacking. So, this one is going to be pretty exciting, I think, mostly because I'm a programmer and I love to program, and I believe in this one we get to actually program a script using Python. So if you're excited, be sure to watch the video to the end. Okay, so let's join the box and let's copy that IP address. Let's open up our Terminator. All right, so let's go into our capture the flag stuff, and we're going to be making a directory here called Oopsie, and let's go inside. We're going to make our nmap directory, and we're going to also use Sublime to create the README file that we have. So oopsie, we can put our export IP right here. And then nmap scans GoBuster scans, and that's it. Well, if we have a website, we'll do that one. So let's go ahead and run our scan. Sudo nmap techsc techsv. And let's run that. Put in your sudo password. Oh, did we forget to export this? Paste that. And let's run that again. While that's running, if you don't know how to use nmap, you can always go to the man pages here and type nmap, and you get a whole shebang and you get some snippets here to that tell you how you use it. So we have the scan types, we get some options, and the target. The target can be either one IP or it can be a range of IP addresses. You can also by default it only scans the first 1,000, I believe, IP ports. But if you need to do all ports, it's TAC P TAC. You can probably find that somewhere here. You can also run scripts, which is pretty cool. So here you have some of the other stuff. This is no ping. Where is the dash P? There you go. So TAC P is port ranges. SV is version detection. That's what we have on ours. TAC SC. It performs a script scan using the default set of scripts. So you can also specify like to run specific scripts like this. You just need the file name or whatever there. It does have, I think sometimes I've used a vuln that just gets vulnerabilities of whatever of the machine or the port or the services that it's running. You have all kinds of other ones here. TAC ON, it just saves the output to a file. But yeah, read that. It's helpful. If you don't want to read that, you can also do like nmap tac help, and that'll give you just the options and stuff that you can do with all the extra added stuff, and it's got some examples here of what you can run. Also, there is a website they can look at as well, nmap.org, and they have, I guess, reference guide, and you can go into the port scanning basics and read all about that stuff. Some techniques, we got TCP, UDP scans, and all kinds of other stuff that you can do. So, yeah, that is that. So let's continue. Let's go back over here. Let's copy our ports and all that stuff. I'm gonna close that freaking window. Man, there's so many trucks passing by at the moment. It's kind of annoying. Sorry about that. So I usually just like fix some of this stuff because it usually gives me that little red line, which I don't like, but whatever. So we can see that we have 2 ports open at the moment. If we wanted to, we could do all ports it's like that. So we can do all ports, and it'll take a little bit longer, but essentially what we need is here. So we have SSH port, and they're running Ubuntu. That port is the regular port, port 22. Then we have port 80, and it's a HTTP port. I mean, yeah, it's a web server. So they're running a web server. We can see the server header, which is Apache 2.429. And we also see the welcome title that they added there. And that's pretty much it. So let's let that thing run over there. While that's running, we're also going to be running GoBuster. And we are, actually, before we do that, we gotta, oh wait, no. Okay, so as we can see, we didn't really get anything else from scanning all the ports. Yeah, we just got SSH and HTTP, but like I said before, if you just run this command, it's going to scan the first 1,000 ports, but sometimes they may change the HTTP port instead of 80 to be somewhere above that range, or maybe they have some other services that aren't running in the lower ports. So it is always a good idea to run a scan on everything. So we were doing GoBuster, right? Just set up that, and we're gonna run our GoBuster. We gotta specify that we want directories, and we are gonna specify that we want a URL, and we're gonna put our HTTP IP stuff in here. We are also, well, actually, yeah. We're also going to be hackthebox.eu tells it that we want to use a word list, and this is where we this is what the word list I'm using. This last thing is just going to throw any errors away, so that we don't see that. Another thing that we would like to do is probably let us know about what files they have. So let's look for PHP files, JSON files, text files, HTML files, CSS maybe, XML files, and JS files. And let's do that. So we see that we found two things already. One is the images, and then we also found index PHP, themes, uploads. Ooh, we definitely want to look at that, because if it lets us upload a certain file, because this is running PHP, we may be able to upload a reverse shell at some point. So we definitely need to take a look at that. So let's go over here and let's check out that website. Okay, so we are in their, I guess, corporate website or something like that. As we can see, Megacorp, that's who we are dealing with. And if you don't remember from the last part, we actually, the last box that we did, if you haven't done it, go make sure you do it. So click on one of the links above. But we actually saw this website in the previous one, which was archetype. And we see that we have administrator password here that we found towards the end in our history file here. So we might want to see where we can actually use this. Before I forget, let's also do another scan. And the other scan that we want is Nikto. We're gonna also do that, and we're just gonna pipe it to this T program. If you don't know what T is, it's pretty much, this is what it does. It's read from standard input and write to standard output in files. So we essentially, Nikto is going to print out all this, and we are going to pipe it to T, and T is going to convert it into a file, which is pretty cool. So let's go ahead and run that, and should be good there. So let's try to look at, just explore this website for now. We found this thing here. So it's an email. I'm not sure if it's going to be useful or not, but let's just annotate that.
We found an email in the
Okay. What we also want to do is, well, we want to see if we can actually go to like any other place. It doesn't seem like we can. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to check the source code. Sometimes they might leave clues or files that we can access. Like, for example, I think it was like 10 years ago. I don't know if that you can do that anymore, but on some websites, like on YouTube or on any like Vimeo or websites that hosted video files to stream back then, you used to be able to go into the source code and just look at the link, and it was the actual link to the video, so you could just download the videos. And it's not really considered illegal because it's public knowledge. It's right there for you to see. So yeah. So right here we can see that we have city and CGI, and it points to this script. And I don't think we can actually. Oh, okay. So it didn't find it. 404. So it might not be there anymore. Let's go back down. We also found this one. And doesn't seem to have anything of interest here. They are running CodePen, so if you maybe we can see CodePen. And apparently CodePen is an online community for testing and showcasing user-created HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code snippets. It functions as an online code editor and open source learning environment where developers can create code snippets called pens and test them out. Cool. I don't think it says the version of it, and I'm not sure how they're using it, so let's just move on to the next thing. I think, let's see. Okay, so we see that there is a CDN CGI login right here. We can't access that script. Let's see if Nikto returned anything. It did. So I don't think GoBuster is going to go any longer. So it's just been halted there at fonts. So let's grab that output, copy that into our file here. And let's try to access, firstly, I guess, let's try to access uploads. And it's forbidden. Now it's forbidden too. And that one's forbidden as well. So we can't have access to any of these. Let's see if we can actually access login. And we do. So we found a login form, which is pretty cool. And if, as you can see, Nikto also found this login form as well. So let's quit out of this one, clear that. We can actually clear this as well. And let's go over here and try this thing. So let's see, admin, maybe. Usually for usernames, they don't really type administrator. They just type admin. So let's try that. And we see that we logged in. Cool. So it's an uploads. Apparently we can't access this either because there's apparently a higher admin called superadmin. Well, that's cool. Let's go to clients. We see that we have an account here. And this is probably us. Let's press F12. This will open this console here, the web development console. We see if you go to storage, if you don't see storage, just click here and just find storage from there. We want to look at cookies. And it's the cookies for this website here. What cookies allow you to do is to maintain data, credentials mostly. They're used for persistence, so that you don't have to log in multiple times and to show you only data related to your profile. And they're also used. They should be checked every time whenever you go between pages. Sometimes that's not the case. They only check it once you log in. But it seems like they probably check it here as well. So if we could find the proper user, we may be able to get in here for the superadmin. So let's try to see if we can actually look at other um, accounts through here. And it looks like we might be able to, because we are allowed to change this stuff. We see we found John. So we just leaked some information. We have his access ID and his email. So that's not a good thing. What they should have done is probably checked our cookie with you know, or their session ID or whatever with this one, and if it's not the same, then don't print it out. But obviously that didn't work, or they didn't do that, and we can actually leak out information from other user accounts, which is pretty dang cool. Now, let's write a script to automate it, because we don't know how many users we have, and we don't want to keep doing that until we reach the 100th or 1000th user. So let's go over here and let's make another directory. We're going to call it scripts. We're going to move into scripts. And we're going to use Sublime to create, I guess, that file, account enumeration. And we are going to use, we're going to use a library. I believe they're called libraries or modules or whatever. It's called requests. So import requests. And if you've never used this before, we can actually go over here and check it out. Python requests. So we can do that, or we can do that, whichever one you want. So we see if you want to install that, you are going to need to run this command to be able to install requests, or you can just run pip install. You don't really have to do that, I believe, unless your Python is not set up correctly. And so this allows us to put get commands and post commands and pass in cookies and data to be able to work with websites and actually look at JSON files and all kinds of other stuff. So here are some of the parameters that we have. So we have get, options, head, post, put, patch, or delete. We are going to be using get only on this time around. Yeah, and then you can specify the URL that you want to do requests for. Some parameters, which I'm not really sure what that is. You got some data. Usually this is like, I guess, file. I don't know. I've used this, but not that much. Oh yeah, yeah. You use it. I think you no. You have files here. Maybe use this with this. I'm not too sure. But we are definitely going to be using cookies, and we are going to be using URL this time around. We're not going to be using headers, and we're not going to be using any of this other stuff. So let's go ahead and write our code. So requests.get URL and cookies. And it's going to return our response. And for now, we're just going to print response.text so that we can see if it's actually working or not. URL cookies. Actually, this is that. So the URL is going to be this one. And we're just going to pass in 1 so that we can see if it's actually working or not. We are not going to be doing, when we run it, we're going to run it like Python 3 and then script name .py. We could make it so that we can actually do like URL and then our IP and then maybe like whatever else we want to pass in, but we are not going to do that today. That's going to take too much time. So yeah, now let's look at the cookies. So it's role, admin, and user, and then that. So role, admin, user, and then the 34322. 34322. So all we got to do is just plug it in here, URL, cookies. And let's go into our terminal here. And we can, we see that Nikto finished, and we find a README. Maybe we can take a look at that at some point. But let's run Python 3 account enumeration.py, press enter, and let's actually type text properly. Run it again, and we should have, so it says that we're logged in as admin, so that's good. And if we look here, we can actually see that we have the email here, our username, and the thing that the access ID. So it's working. Nice. So all we have to do now is do a for loop, pretty much. Well, that, and then we gotta make sure that this is gonna be a variable. So we are gonna say max account ID. This is how many iterations we want to go to or through, so 100. And then we have our actual account ID, and we're gonna start from 0. Actually, maybe 4 since we already know the first 4. Actually, first 5 because it starts at 0. And we're just gonna do plus str account ID to add it to our URL. It's pretty much concatenating. So first we gotta convert this integer into a string. So there's this function for it, and then we concatenate it with that plus into here. So that's pretty easy. We're not going to be changing our cookie. And then in here, we're just going to go and do a while. Account ID is less than max account ID. And we are going to just do that. And we are not going to do that. But so let's do some printouts. Print we're going to say enum started. And when we end, we're just going to say enum ended. And in here, we can just say attempt, and we can pass in the account ID like that. And then we're going to say if, what is it called? Super admin in response text or super admin, because we don't know if it's in it's probably going to be lowercase since everything else was in lowercase, but just to be sure, let's do both. So all we are doing, oh, not txt, it's text. And if we did get that, we're just gonna break right there. And we're gonna say found ID, and we're gonna print the entire thing. Response.text. And then we're just gonna get out. So pretty much here we're just saying, okay, if the response holds in the text the HTML that we saw earlier, if we see anywhere in there that we have super admin in either one of these, then we found it. We are just gonna print it out and get out. That's pretty much it. Okay, so now let's also remember that we need to increment by 1 from where we are, so that we actually loop through and it's not stuck in a while loop forever. And let's run it here because it's bigger. Oh yeah, always forget to do this. So we do str. Let's run it. And we see that we're going through all of these. And oh, we got another error. So we found it, apparently, at 30. No? Was it probably 31? No, I think it was 30. So we can start at 30 now, so we don't have to go through the whole thing again, and just fix this thing again, which I forgot as well to do. And we're going to clear, and this should just be the first one. And there we go. So we see that we get super admin here, and we have his email. And let's copy all that stuff. And his access ID. Copy. And let's go to Oopsie. And we're going to say this is account ID. This is username. This is email. Used Let's also do like nicto scan c nicto log. Okay. Found cdn cgi login.
And
So it's always good to keep track of what you're doing, especially if you want to be in this industry as a professional. You have to be able to, let's say you get contracted to perform pen tests. You have to be able to tell your client everything that you've done. And it's also a great exercise too, because you're probably gonna, if you do more of these boxes anywhere, whether it's in TryHackMe or Hack the Box or Vulnhub, you're gonna probably find into a similar situation. And you're probably not, if you're new to this and you haven't done it for a long time, you're probably gonna forget. So having archives of what you're doing and what you did to solve something is really valuable. And once you actually do this, you can post it on a blog post as a what is it called? Walkthroughs. So you can do a lot with that. Keep that in mind. I definitely recommend that you have a blog if you're doing this and you want to be serious about it. Yeah, definitely. For me, I may do a text blog post as well, maybe. But I'm doing this YouTube, so that may be good enough. But it's not. I don't know. Might not be that searchable unless I use good uh, SEO stuff. Anyway, cool. So we found that. Let's go ahead, copy that ID, and we're gonna attempt to just do this. Um, can we or should we do that too? So we're changing our our cookie, and if when we go into the uploads and send this request, if they don't check our cookie to make sure that it matches whatever originally was set, then this can be a vulnerability, and we can gain access to their system as the super admin. So let's find out. And look at that. We are now super admin. Awesome. So let's see if we can upload something. We are going to need to get a PHP reverse, oh wait, reverse shell. Let's use this one, Pentest Monkey. Thank you, Pentest Monkey, for this PHP shell, and let's try to upload it. So yeah, let's keep it there. We're gonna call it PHP or prevshell.php. Okay, so we add it there. Paste that, save that. Go all the way to the top, or mostly all the way to the top. And where it says change this. Let's look at our IP. Our IP not our real IP, but our IP that this VPN gives us is what we need. And our port. This can be any port as long as you're not using it currently. So let's do 9001. Save that. Let's go back into here. Close that. And let's try to upload it. If they did it properly, they should look at the file extension and prevent from uploading those files, like PHP files. Because if you get to upload that and you have access to that file, you can call it remotely and connect to yourself and have a reverse shell. I'm not sure after, like, if they, like, probably they could upload a text file and then try to run it as PHP, and I'm not sure if that's going to work or not, but we'll see what happens. But, okay, HTTP, Oopsie scripts, and we're going to use that. P rev shell, open, press upload. We see that it's been uploaded. Now we can go back to upload. Still says forbidden. But maybe we can just do that. Before we do, we need to set up a connection with netcat. And now let's run it, see what happens. If you're getting this little thing that says that it's thinking or loading, you're probably good. So we are here. Oh. And we see, let me make sure we can do this. So now we see that we actually are inside. Whammy. Whammy. So we are www data. So let's go ahead. Where are we? Blah, 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 blah. I was looking for something, but I don't remember what it was. Let's exit that one. Oh, yeah, I was trying to go here. Go here and so we are en route right now, and we want to be able to, let's see what we can find. We may need to, so we're W data. We need to find the user flag, explore around the system and see if we can find any credentials for any more admin stuff, or see how we can escalate. Before moving on, however, I do want to do this first. So user bin script bin bash dev null. So what this is going to do, this is going to give me a better shell. And now we can see what we would normally see on a shell. The only thing that we don't have is up, down arrow keys, left, right arrow keys. But we don't have that either. So anyway, let's go into the var www HTML. And let's look at the website that we had. Let's see, do we have anything hidden in here? We don't. Let's go into, is there anything in uploads? There is nothing in uploads. No. There's a theme CSS. Not sure we care about that. Bootstrap index prefix free. Let's look at that. Look at index PHP. I mean, we already kind of looked at it, but now that we are inside, we're going to see a lot more stuff that we didn't see before, such as PHP code, if it's here at all. Because the reason we wouldn't see it in the website when we looked at the source code is because PHP runs in the server. It's a backend scripting language or programming language, and it doesn't show up in the front end at all. It converts itself, like you can run PHP, and the reason why we use it is so that we can do, it's called what is it called? Dynamic websites that allow us to, log in and based on your credentials, your login credentials, you're going to see different things and whatnot. While JavaScript is more of a front-end programming language, and you will see that in here. But I don't really see anything. What we could try to do is we can see if we have anything like, let's see. Let's do cat index.php, and then we're going to pipe that to a program called grep. If you don't know what grep is, then this is pretty much, it prints lines that match patterns. So you can specify the pattern, and it pretty much allows you to search for anything. And what we want to search for is, I don't know, require, something like that. And we didn't find anything there. Okay. In PHP, require or include, it pretty much brings in a file. to append to the current file. For instance, usually if you're having code to connect to a database or something like that, or if you have a header file, a header PHP and a footer PHP, and they're separate things, you can combine those to form a web page and to add more functionality with include or require commands or lines of code. But anyway, let's continue. We just have images here. Let's go into CDN. And we see here we have an admin PHP and we have a db.php. We also have an index PHP and a script.js. That script.js we couldn't see before. So maybe we can. Oh. Not Java. JS. There we go. It's apparently empty. So. I can't spell today or type. Okay, so we see a DB PHP. Usually that stands for database. Let's look at that. And what do you know? We found the username and password. So let's annotate that here. We don't care about that.
Image this bar.
So that means that we can actually SSH now into here. So exit. Let's just get rid of this one, but let's SSH now. We found the credentials as Robert and the Megacorp password. So let's pass those in. And we see that we now have a better shell. So we have a user txt. That's pretty cool. We can cat that out. And we have a file. What is it called? A flag. Copy that. And user text. This is aged with Robert's credentials and found this file in his home directory. And how do we know that we're in his home directory? If we do pwd print working directory, we see that we are indeed in his turf. Cool. So now let's go ahead and so we're gonna go here. We're gonna go submit. Go here. And it's accepted. So we now have the user own. Let's explore a little bit more. Here we have a profile. Maybe we can cat profile. There's nothing interesting there. Let's see what we have for permissions. What can we do with sudo? I'm gonna paste that. What? Copy, paste. There we go. So we see that Robert doesn't have any sudo. He's not in the sudoers file. We can't do that. Can we do cat etc what is that, shadow? And we can't, obviously, because we are not root. Let's look for any IDs. So we see that we are in part, we have two groups. The first one is the default one where every new user goes into its own. So that if you would make a new user, John or something, that would create a group ID of John as well. We can see though that we have a group ID of 1001, and he is also in the group bug trackers. So we can do we can try to find from the root any files that pertain to the group bug tracker. And okay, so we see we get all kinds of nasty stuff. Let's redo that again. And this time we're gonna do that, and we're just gonna get what we want, if it exists. So we see that there's a file named bug tracker in user bin. Okay. So let's head over there. Actually, can we just run it from here? Not sure. Probably we can, but I'm not sure how to do that. So let's go to cd user bin. And well, I guess that doesn't help. So let's just see what that file is. If use file, the command file on a file, it's going to tell you what it's all about. So we can see there's a 64-bit executable. Okay, cool. Dynamically linked, version 1. Cool, not stripped. And then we get a build ID with the SHA-1 to make sure that it's legit or whatever. Oh. So let's now try to run it, and we see that we get this. Let's do 1 or something, and we get whatever we get from their bug reports. What we can also do is we can use this strings command. If we don't know what strings is, it's going to print the strings of printable characters in any file. So that's cool, that's handy. So let's see what this bug tracker, bug tracker application has. You can see all this stuff, right? So let's look through it and see what we could potentially exploit, or what it calls. And here we can see something interesting. This line right there. It uses the cat command, which is concatenate. If we do mencat, it says concatenate files and print on the standard output. So that's what that does. So, but it's accessing things from root. That lets us know that we could run cat on root, or that this program can access root, right? So what can we do? What we can do is, let's go back to our home directory. And we are going to, I guess, make a temp dir and go into temp. And in here, we're going to make a file. So we're going to echo, and we're going to echo this command. What that is going to do is it's going to pretty much open bin bash, which is what we're running right now, to run commands. But it's going to open it as root because of the privileges. So we're going to move pretty much, not pipe, but we're going to create the file out of this. And we're going to call it cat. You'll see why in a sec. So essentially what we want to do is we want to swap the original cat. If we see where the original cat is coming from, it's coming from bin cat. Okay. There's also one probably in user bin. Well, I guess not. But this is where this cat file is pointing to from, or where it's being called. So what we want to do is we want to change the environment variables, like path. And we look at path. We can see all kinds of directories where things are being called from. And one of those is bin, which is right here, which is why we're able to use cat. If we didn't have this one, we wouldn't be able to. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we put ourselves, this cat, at the front. So it'll get to it, it'll be the first cat it'll see ever, and run our command instead. So how do we do that? We want to export a new path with our directory. If we don't know where we are, we can run pwd. And that's going to let us know where we are. So we're just going to say home Robert TMP, and that's it, colon. And then we want to concatenate or add the rest of the path, which is this, to our new path. Okay. So let's press enter. And now let's echo our path. And we can see now that is different from the original one. And we have this one right here. Nice. So now if we see which cat is cat, actually I guess it doesn't show there, but it will. Actually, before we move on, you gotta change the what does mod stand for? Let's see. Change file mode. There we go. So we want to change the mode of this file, and we want to make it executable. And now we can see that it's green. Let's see, did that change it? It did. So now because we made it executable, it knows that we're talking about that cat and not the other cat. Okay? So all we got to do now is we've got to go into the user bin folder, run back bug tracker, and press a number. Any number, doesn't matter. Let's do 0 or negative, whatever. And look at that. We are now the root. If you don't believe me, there we go. If we try to go to our home, it's going to take us to Robert. Because we're still Robert, but we just elevated ourselves to root via the cat command that calls the bash command that runs as root, if that makes any sense. And now what we want to do is we want to go to root. And we want to cat that root. Actually, we can't cat that root because catting that root is just going to give us another root shell. So if we exit, we're still in root because we just catted it. We recatted the rooted catted shell. It makes no sense. It doesn't. So if we used to use cat and we can't anymore to read files, what do we use now? Well, there is this one. It's opposite of more. Pretty much. So what is more? Well, it pretty much prints the file. We can see the file. So less root, but we want more of root, actually, not less. So let's copy that. Let's go over here and annotate what we just did. So all right. So now that we have that, let's look into the reports. Let's see if we can actually find, because these are bug reports, maybe they haven't patched anything yet, and we can actually find some juicy stuff. Okay, so the first one just says that when uploading or when loading library in firmware, it seems to be crashed. And it just says how it happens, what it expected, and whatnot. We don't care about that. Let's look at number 2. Okay, we have something. Seems like it. If you connect to a site, FileZilla will remember this host, the username, and the password, optional. The same is true for the site manager. But if a port other than 21 is used, the port is saved in .config FileZilla. Okay, let's take a mental note of that. .config FileZilla. But the information from this file isn't downloaded again afterwards. And then we get some stuff in here. So it's got problem type is a bug, distro release Ubuntu 16.10, package. Oh, let's take a look at what the version of Ubuntu was here. Apparently it's 4? Is that right? I don't know. Or is that, I don't know. Maybe. I have no idea. Okay, 4, yeah. So it's similar. AMD 64. Encrypt FS in use, yes. Source package FileZilla. Upgrade status, no upgrade log present, probably fresh install. Okay. Let's copy that for later use. Let's go to 3. And here we have more information. Hello, when transferring files from an FTP server, TLS or not, to an SMB share, FileZilla keeps freezing, which leads blah blah blah, looking at resources usage, blah blah blah. And we don't see anything else that's interesting. Okay. So we see a config here, .config, like they were talking about. Check that config, cd into config, and we have a FileZilla folder here, probably because it was hidden. And we have a FileZilla XML, not cat. And we have some information about some server. So we got a host right here. We got a port, protocol, type. We got a user and a password. Nice. Cool. So I think that's probably going to be used in the next one because we already got the root flag and there's not much we could do anymore. So let's go ahead and get that flag out of the way. Let's go here, submit flag, paste that flag. Boom. And flag accepted. We now own this server as root. Okay guys, well, thank you for watching this video. Let me know what you thought of it in the links below. Let me know if there's any other stuff you would have done differently. Hit that like button if you liked this video, and subscribe if you haven't already. We're gonna be doing a lot more of these videos because I got great feedback last time from you guys, and I think that's what you want to see. Remember, don't hack anybody without their permission. It is illegal. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time, and have a great day.